and welcome to Indus News. Live from Islamabad, I'm Naila Shuja and these are the headlines. Pakistan and Turkey have expressed concerns over the rising trend of Islamophobia. Meeting his Turkish counterpart Mevlut Cavusoglu in Islamabad, Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi stressed for joint efforts to protect the Islamic values. Qureshi also apprised Cavusoglu of the prevailing situation in Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. In the United States, the House of Representatives has approved a measure calling for President Donald Trump to be removed from office after the Capitol riots. Vice President Mike Pence, however, made it clear he has no plans to invoke the 25th Amendment. In a letter to the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Pence said that the move to impeach President Donald Trump was against national interest and inconsistent with the Constitution. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has called for increased military power and greater nuclear war deterrence. Kim said this at the conclusion of the ruling party's rare Congress amid stalled nuclear talks with the United States. Meanwhile, the Korean leader's sister Kim Yo-jong accused Seoul of having a hostile approach towards Pyongyang. The United States death toll from COVID-19 has hit a new daily record of nearly 4,500, while its death tally has topped 380,000. China has reported 115 new infections, the highest daily increase in more than 5 months. Meanwhile, Pakistan has registered over 2,100 new cases and 55 more deaths, with a toll at 10,772. Globally, the virus has claimed 1.96 million lives and infected over 91 million people so far. And in tennis, Polish Hubert Hurkacz has booked his spot in the final of the Delray Beach Opening following a 7-6, 6-4 win over American Christian Harrison. The Polish fourth seed will face either Britain's Cameron Norrie or unseeded American Sebastian Korda in the finals. For more news and details, stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back. Pakistan and Turkey have agreed to pursue a joint strategy at the international level on matters of mutual interests.
The understanding came at a meeting between Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi and his Turkish counterpart Mevlut Cavusoglu in Islamabad. The two foreign ministers expressed concerns over the rising trend of Islamophobia and stressed for joint efforts to protect the Islamic values. Qureshi also apprised his Turkish counterpart of the prevailing situation in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The two sides also signed a memorandum of understanding for promotion of cooperation in the education sector. Earlier, President Arif Alvi conferred the country's highest civil award, Hilal-e-Pakistan, on Mevlut Cavusoglu in recognition of his services for international peace. Meanwhile, the foreign ministers of Pakistan, Turkey, and Azerbaijan are set to meet for a trilateral meeting today in Islamabad. In a statement, the Foreign Office said the trio will discuss various issues including emerging threats to regional peace and security. It said the three foreign ministers will also explore ways to deepen trilateral cooperation in areas of common interest.
For more on this, we're joined by our correspondent Samara Khan from Islamabad. Now, Samara, what are the high-level engagements of foreign delegates in Pakistan today?
Yes, Naila, Islamabad is right now buzzing with the foreign dignitaries. And if we talk about foreign dignitaries right now in Islamabad, we received the Foreign Minister of Turkey, Mevlut Cavusoglu. last night. He reached Islamabad last night, and after that he started his engagement, and he started calling on prominent government dignitaries and other dignitaries, including from the parliament side, and he is supposed to meet. He started his meeting with Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi. Then he called on President Dr. Arif Ali when he was conferred upon the highest. When there was a ceremony of there was a ceremony for him scheduled, and after that he came to Foreign Office to hold the bilateral and delegation level talk with Shah Mahmood Qureshi, the Foreign Minister of Pakistan. But the actual engagement of all these foreign ministers from the Azerbaijan, Pakistan, and Turkey is scheduled around 7 p.m. In the evening, according to Pakistan Standard Time. But in the day, the Foreign Minister of Turkey, he is meeting all the prominent government and military side officials in Rawalpindi and Islam.
All right, now Samara, the foreign ministers of Pakistan, Turkey and Azerbaijan are set to meet for a trilateral meeting today in Islamabad. What are the trio going to discuss?
Well, the three sides, from Pakistani side, Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi, from the Azeri side, it will be Ceyhun Bayramov, and from the Turkish side, it will be Mevlut Cavusoglu. They'll be holding a trilateral meeting, and it will be the second round of a trilateral meeting in Islamabad. The first one was held in Baku in November 2017, and the discussion will obviously it will be spanning all the matters, including the climate change, including peace in the region, the stability, and the challenges faced due to the pandemic of COVID-19. And the three sides are also, according to my information, they're all set to discuss the long-standing issue of Kashmir as well, the illegally occupied Indian Jammu and Kashmir. Because being member of the OIC, Azerbaijan has always they always rendered their steadfast support to Pakistan whenever it came to the Kashmir cause issue. And we are also hoping that the President of Pakistan is going to confer Hilal-e Pakistan on the Azeri Foreign Minister as well. He is scheduled to reach Pakistan around 5:30 according to Pakistan Standard Time, and then he'll be going to Foreign Office where he'll be taking part. First, he'll be holding bilateral round of talks with Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi, and then he'll be heading towards participating in the bilateral meeting. But the three sides are very focused on discussing the Kashmir issue on priority, and after that they'll be discussing the range of issues that prevail amongst the three nations. And it will also be having a detailed follow-up on the issues that were discussed in the first round of trilateral meeting in Baku.
All right, thank you so much, Samara Khan, for sharing the latest updates with us. Now moving on, the United Nations says Pakistan leads the adopting the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and its 17 ambitious goals. This was stated in United Nations Sustainable Development Framework report for Pakistan. The report says Pakistan has become one of the first countries to take up its pledge to transform lives and protect the planet. The United Nations report has reaffirmed Pakistan's goal of leaving no one behind, especially to help the most vulnerable people in the country. It has termed the country's economic growth inclusive that benefits all the people of the country. The report states that due to the government's policies, all people would have access to quality services. The hundreds of thousands of farmers protesting in India have once again refused consultations with the government. This comes a day after the top court halted the implementation of the new farm laws and called for setting up a committee to address the grievances. The farmers' leaders say the nominated committee members are pro-government. The farmer union said that all the members of the committee have publicly advocated for the laws. They have said that the committee is a distraction, and they have reiterated their demands for reappeal of the laws. As the agitation enters its 50th day, it involves around 250 million protesters, with many more standing in solidarity with the Indian farmers globally. Israel has launched an air assault on Deir ez-Zor and Abu Kamal cities in southeastern Syria. The Syrian state media said the results of the aggression are currently being verified. Meanwhile, Israeli media reports say the raids killed at least 5 Syrian soldiers and 11 allied fighters. They said that the raids targeted Syrian military armed depots and positions. The latest assault is the second wave of Israeli raids in Syria in less than a week. Earlier, Israeli warplanes targeted sites near the Lebanon-Syria border in Al-Zabandani and Misaf. Russia has criticized United States accusations about Iran having ties with the Al-Qaeda are baseless. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zamir Kabulov said that this is another attempt by the outgoing United States administration to hurt Tehran. Kabulov said that the United States accusations are unreasonable and without evidence. Earlier, Iran refuted the comments by United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Foreign Minister Javad Zarif dubbed the allegations warmongering lines. Pompeo had accused Iran of being involved in planning the September 11 terrorist attacks. He alleged Iran was hosting the new base for the Al-Qaeda. Russia has proposed inclusion of the United Kingdom and France in the New START nuclear arms control treaty. Moscow says it is ready to discuss extension of the treaty with the upcoming United States administration under Joe Biden. The Russian ambassador to the United States said the extension will give time for a comprehensive bilateral talk on future control over nuclear weapons. Anatoly Antonov said that the 5-year period will be used to maintain the level of transparency in United States-Russia strategic relations. The New START treaty is the last nuclear arms control agreement between Russia and the United States and will expire in February 2021 if not extended. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has called for increased military power and greater nuclear war deterrence. Kim said this at the conclusion of the ruling party's rare Congress amid stalled nuclear talks with the United States. Kim said that the North Korea needs to do everything in order to build the most powerful military. Earlier in the Congress, he said that the United States policy will not change towards the country, whoever comes in power. Meanwhile, Kim's sister Kim Yo-jong criticized South Korea's military for monitoring a parade in Pyongyang. She said that such a close tracking provoked Seoul's hostile approach towards its neighbor. In the United States, the House of Representatives has approved a measure calling for President Donald Trump to be removed from office after the Capitol riots. Vice President Mike Pence, however, made it clear he has no plans to go back to the move.
With only 8 days left in the Trump term, Vice President Mike Pence told House leaders he does not support invoking the 25th Amendment process. In a letter to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Pence said the move to impeach Trump was against national interest and inconsistent with the Constitution. Pence's refusal to go along means that Democrats will proceed to an impeachment vote, charging Trump with incitement of insurrection. This would make him the first U.S. president ever to be impeached twice. At least 5 Republicans have broken ranks and said they plan to back the Democrats. The U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff have also confirmed Biden's victory and called the riots a direct assault on Congress and the Constitution. Earlier in the day, the president took no responsibility for the breach of Congress by his supporters.
The United States has hit a new record of daily deaths with nearly 4,500 fatalities overnight, and the nationwide death toll has crossed 380,000. China reported its biggest daily surge in more than 5 months with 115 new infections. Globally, the virus has claimed 1.96 million lives and infected 91 million people so far. More in this report.
As cases of COVID-19 continue to surge worldwide, Canada's most populous province of Ontario has again issued stay-at-home orders. In the United States, the last responders or staff in California's funeral homes are registering the highest number of coronavirus-linked deaths since the pandemic began. The U.S. Infectious Diseases Society says states need more money, and they need it quickly to speed up the rollout of vaccines. Meanwhile, Argentina has successfully concluded clinical trials for a hyperimmune serum against COVID-19 developed with antibodies from horses. Developers of the serum say its mass distribution will begin over the next few days.
Following the development in Argentina, we have already been in contact with several Latin American countries, and we are looking at boosting capacity. We believe that in March we will have 100,000 vials per month. We are also looking at possibilities of producing outside the country with the transfer of technology if there is a plant that has the same processes and capacity to do it.
Scientists have warned that mutations in the variant first spotted in South Africa might decrease vaccine efficacy, while the World Health Organization says the variant first discovered in Britain has spread to at least 50 more countries. It says scientists need to collect and sequence samples of the virus to help the world detect dangerous new mutations. In the Netherlands, the lockdown has been extended by 3 weeks, while Germany's hard lockdown is also likely to last further 8 to 10 weeks. Meanwhile, at a biodiversity summit, British Prime Minister blamed the pandemic on a demented belief in traditional medicine.
Don't forget that the coronavirus pandemic was the product of an imbalance in man's relationship with the natural world, like the original plague that struck the Greeks.
In the meantime, China's Sinovac vaccine was found to just be 50.38% effective in late-stage trials in Brazil, significantly lower than earlier reported. In Australia, Queensland has ordered hundreds of residents to restart their quarantine over fears of the spread of the UK variant.
In Pakistan, 55 people have lost their lives to COVID-19 in the past 24 hours. This takes the country's death toll to over 10,772. The health ministry reported 2,123 infections overnight. It says there are more than 33,000 active COVID-19 cases in the country. The ministry said out of over 508,000 countrywide cases, more than 464,000 people have recovered. Meanwhile, the phase 1 trials of the China Sinopharm vaccine are in their final stage in the southern port city of Karachi. Germany says it wants to have a good start to the transatlantic relations with the United States President-elect Joe Biden. Finance Minister Olaf Scholz says that the key goal with the Biden administration is to reach a deal to introduce global rules on corporate taxation. He has also called for some form of taxation on digital companies. Scholz said that Biden is the right man to lead the United States and unite his people.
Joe Biden is the right man for the next presidency. I heard him very often, and I read a lot of texts where he always said he's called middle-class Joe in the United States, and not everyone is thinking that this is a good idea of him. But being this guy, I think a lot of people understood that he could be the one to put the United States society better together as has happened in the past.
France has denounced Israel's plan to construct 800 more Jewish settler homes in the occupied West Bank. In a statement, the Foreign Ministry said Israeli authorities must drop the plan. It urged Israel to avoid any unilateral measures that could jeopardize the two-state solution. On Monday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu approved the construction of 800 new settlement units in the occupied West Bank. The West Bank, including East Jerusalem, is regarded as the occupied territory under international law. In New Zealand, police says that a man smashed the glass door of the Parliament's main entrance with an axe. Officials said that the perpetrator, however, did not try to enter the building. Police said that they were called to the complex in the capital, Wellington, after getting reports of the attack. The 31-year-old man was arrested in about 10 minutes. The man has been charged with intentional damage and possession of an offensive weapon. If found guilty, he could face up to 7 years in prison. After nearly a year of increased isolation for seniors brought on by the coronavirus pandemic, a French company hopes that its autonomous and AI-driven robot will bring the relief many people desperately need.
Hi, Bridget. Your cooking class is scheduled for 6:30 p.m. Today is Sophie's birthday. Do you want to send her a message?
Yes, of course.
CareClever presented its latest version of the Cutie Companion robot this week at the virtual Consumer Electronics Show. It is designed based on 3 pillars: social link, assistance, and a companion robot. The company designed and built the robot specifically for seniors. It proposes activities such as yoga, nature walks, and quizzes, uses voice recognition, and offers video calls and messaging via its Wi-Fi connection. But the main purpose is to just alleviate the loneliness that seniors can experience in the home or an assisted living facility. So far, the company has 30 cutie robots in senior facilities and 10 in individual homes in France. The company is also branching out in the U.S. with 6 robots being tested in Connecticut. Cutie is sold for $6,000.
With the hope to reach Europe, hundreds of migrants use Bosnia's northwestern town of Palk as a hub, sheltering in and around the city. They face snow and freezing weather. The report has more.
Since early 2018, Bosnia has become a transit route for thousands of migrants aiming to reach Europe. But it has become increasingly difficult to cross EU borders, and impoverished Bosnia has become a dead end for them. Bosnia houses some 8,000 migrants. About 6,000 are in camps around the capital Sarajevo and in the country's bordering city with Croatia. The International Organization for Migration says its mobile teams are helping around 1,000 people. IOM camp manager Natasha Omerovic reiterates that migrants are in dire need of basic humanitarian assistance.
People living in squats or those who are finding solutions in some deserted houses, devastated houses during the Bosnian War in here, are in the need of the basic humanitarian assistance. Those people do not have the possibility for regular food distributions to receive the food on a daily basis. They cannot seek for medical assistance.
Extreme winter cold is surging the miseries of the squatters. A 16-year-old migrant from Afghanistan has been sleeping in an abandoned bus for almost 6 months. He is desperately looking for help.
I was at the Sidra camp and then in Bira camp for 2 months. I have been sleeping in a bus for about 5 to 6 months now, and I'm living in really bad conditions. I'm in really a bad way. There is no one to look after us here, and the conditions are not safe here.
A group of migrants have found shelter in an abandoned house in Bihać. They have had a modest dinner cooked under a torchlight. They have no water and have to sleep on dirty concrete floors.
Many of migrants are living here in this cold weather. In this weather, because of the coldness, they doesn't have shoes and jackets and clothes. You can check out our sleeping place as well. So too dirty, and main problem is here to take a wash. No water, hot water to take a wash. So and for a shower. So for cooking as well, so problem.
The Bosnian authorities have provided heated military tents and beds to the migrants. However, the government is still unable to provide adequate assistance to all the migrants.
European stocks are mostly trading flat as investors monitor challenges to vaccine rollouts and coronavirus containment measures. The Pan-European Stock 600 has risen marginally, with oil, gas, and telecom stocks leading the gains. London's FTSE 100, Frankfurt's DAX, and the CAC 40 in Paris are all hovering around the flat line. However, Italy's FTSE MIB has slipped fractionally. Earlier, all Asian bourses traded mixed. Seoul's Kospi, Australia's ASX 200, and Japanese stocks gained marginally, while mainland Chinese shares and Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index shed. For the latest news updates, you can follow us on our social media at Indus.News.